We're live again. Welcome to the first segment of our Outsource to Lebanon event entitled The Impact of Outsourcing. Here we'll be looking at the impact outsourcing hubs can have on communities from a macroeconomic perspective. I'm so pleased to introduce our first speaker, Dr. Rana Taher. She has 20 plus years of experience in international development, focusing on sectors such as economic growth, education, gender, and youth across countries in the Middle East, Europe, and North America. She has led and participated in impact and performance evaluations for international agencies such as USAID, European Commission, Oxfam, and many more. Currently, she serves as the country director for Ahmadiyya Lebanon and is a part-time university professor at the American University of Beirut. She holds a multidisciplinary PhD in social sciences from Concordia University. Dr. Taher, welcome. The floor is all yours.
Thank you so much. I would like to thank you all for attending this important event today, organized by Jobs for Lebanon on outsourcing and the opportunities Lebanon has in the global outsource market. As introduced earlier, a series of panels are organized today on why outsource in Lebanon, what are the keys to a successful outsourcing relationship, logistical consideration to outsourcing in Lebanon. Each of the panel discussions and workshops to be carried out today will include key speakers from the business, IT, education, venture capital, NGO community, and extensive experience in promoting and advocating for outsourcing as an option for the future. Before I continue my presentation, we'll focus on three main questions that you have them here. One is, why should companies consider outsourcing? What are the benefits outsourcing has on economies, and what makes a country best suited to become an outsource hub? Obviously, however, before I proceed to answer these questions, I would like to highlight few statistics, numbers, and trends on the global outsource market, most of which you are familiar with. However, it's important because it will frame the discussion today as well as provide hope for Lebanon service sector and opportunities for SMEs as they struggle within the current financial and economic collapse. It also provides an opportunities for job creation, workforce development, employment generation projects within the economic growth and education sector. Now, if we look at the global trends in outsourcing, according to studies by Deloitte, McKinsey, Kearney, and others, the outsourced market is expected to grow at a rate of almost 5.5% over the next 5 to 7 years. So in 2020, the global outsourcing service market was valued at 620 billion. However, in 2023, we are expecting that global spending on outsourcing could reach 731 billion. And around 904 billion in 2027. So as you can see, due to the pandemic, the outsourced service market expanded as companies went digital and acquired specific services in mass quantities. 45% of the companies have planned to increase their outsourcing due to the pandemic, often focusing on finding skill sets and talents they cannot access in-house or locally. And with the emergence of cloud, due to cloud, 90% of companies are ready to embrace outsourcing as it helps them close the gap for technical talent and reaching professionals across the world. If we are looking at labor and GDP statistics, it's really important to consider that we can just look at China and you can see that with over 1 million new employees joining the service outsource industry each year. At least 9% of certain countries, GDP is generated through outsourcing. For example, if we take the Philippines, 9% of the Philippine GDP is generated through outsourcing. 9.5% of India is generated through ITO, PPO, employing 3.5 million. So India holds almost 65% of the global business BPO and IT outsourcing market. So this is really critical. Now, in terms of key information in the outsource market, before I go on to answer these questions, again, I would like to highlight and remind you of the top companies that are involved in the outsource market, mainly in two sub-industries, business process outsourcing and information technology outsourcing. As you can see, Most of these companies you are familiar with and often use their services. There are hundreds more, however, they are among the biggest in terms of contract value and market share. I wanted to move on. As I said, the global outsourcing market is dominated by two, I apologize, by two sub-industries. One is the IT outsourcing, and the second one is the business process outsourcing. When we're talking about IT outsourcing, we're talking about includes something like cloud computing services, web hosting, cybersecurity, and data backups. BPO contains a multitude of functions, including payroll, HR services, accounting, marketing, customer service, and logistics. So if we look at the distribution, according to 2021 data published by Deloitte, the most commonly implemented services in outsourced market provider is IT, 54%, the finance, 44%, payroll, 32%, customer service or contract, 22%. As you can see, maybe there's an overlap in between the different functions, but the percentages are quite clear. Most common outsourced business process is recorded within accounting and finance, each of them within 37%, and then digital marketing around 34%, the IT services 37%, development services 28%, human resources 24%. The pandemic provided an opportunity to transform business process outsourcing as a potential opportunities for many countries and many economies. Financial services, IT, and telecom continue to be expanding and growing over the next period. According to a report published by Infinity Research Limited in 2019, it states that the global tech outsourcing market is expected to grow by 98 billion during 2020 to 2024. A large part of this success will be a result of the IT telecommunications sector. So now, why all of this is really important? Because the most popular outsourcing region, according to a study carried by Kearney in 2019, the strongest potential to deliver outsourcing services, as you can see, is 42% in North America and South America, 35% in terms of Europe, Middle East, and Africa, 23% in Asia and Oceania. Top countries that dominated the outsourced market are India, China, Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam, United States, Thailand, United Kingdom, Brazil, and Philippines. I'm not going to go into the percentages, but it's really clear. However, there are some countries that continue until today, and with some new entrants into the market, such as Ukraine, Poland, and Ireland. Now, with disruptions of the issues in Ukraine, obviously there's a lag in that area, but there's potential for other market entrant to enter the market. In 2017, the U.S. contributed around 41% of the total deal value for outsourcing, but Asia Pacific regions and Europe and Middle East and Africa were not that far behind. Asia Pacific contribution to global outsourcing deals increased from 16% to 23% in less than 1 year between 2016 and 2017. So the numbers are growing. Now, to come back to the questions, and I wanted to make sure that we're framing those questions as such, so because it will frame the discussions moving forward when we're talking about Lebanon, but just to also contextualize how it all fits in the global and regional picture. Okay, so why should company outsource? So as you can see, in a study by New Directions, carried out in 2020 and based on interviews with 50 organizations and survey of 303 senior executives throughout the United States and Europe, outsourcing helps in increasing companies' competitiveness in terms of local, regional, and global market. It ensures cost control, reduces expenditures, and obviously ensures cost savings by at least 9 to 15%. So 70% of the companies that within the survey indicated that the number one reason for outsourcing is cost reduction, as it lowers the cost associated with hiring in-house staff. So as opposed to hiring in-house staff, most of them would go for outsourcing. Around 24% of small companies say that outsource also increases efficiency. Why? Because as companies start to focus, and you will see in the slide, on core businesses, what they do best, they become more efficient, more effective, and gain competitive edge. Outsource also helps solve issues, capacity issues within companies, and enhance quality of the service provided. So those are all critical elements that would incentivize companies to be able to outsource and to seek the outsource market. Many small businesses also use outsource to access specialized skill sets. In a study by Clutch in 2021, Clutch Consulting, as in, surveyed 500 organizations in the US. 80% of the companies responded by saying that outsourced results improved efficiency and ensured time saving, so around 27%. Okay, in a study of new direction, in a study of in a study by Deloitte, also we have also recorded that there is more than 6,000 in a study of more than 600 industry leaders across 45 countries. It indicated that outsourcing providers are starting to change the way they look at qualifying talent. The successful outsourced providers in meeting client demands are focusing more on diversity within their institutions, as well as within their team leadership teams. There's more than 80% having about a third of their leadership team composed of minorities and women, adopting new approaches to talents with 67%, building continuous improvement and innovation into talent programs, and focusing on work-life balance and flexible practices, and embracing digital transformation as a strategic agenda, with 72% of them having already implemented robotic process automation. Now, the next question is, sorry, I have a screen here that is, okay, there we go. The next, one second, I'm having a problem with my slide. Okay, now, what are the benefits of outsourcing to local economies? Those are important. According to the literature, the benefits of outsourcing can be summarized as such. 1, improved technological development and innovation, increased intercultural exchange, increased access to global markets, creating shifts in employment models, increased opportunities for SMEs, increased flow of hard currency, reduced migration and brain drain. So if we're looking at when foreign companies pour investment into developing countries, and if we can look at the case of Philippines, for example, it allows them to boost their economy, balance out the revenue lost to imports. The most well-known cases we know are the Philippines and India. However, there's a growing outsourced market in the Middle East and North Africa as well. In countries that rely on service industries, as the case in Lebanon, outsourcing could boost the GDP, provide alternative employment opportunities, as well as reduce brain drain, and even assume localized approaches for having local versus urban, meaning that we could end up with somebody living in Akkar and working for a telecommunication company in the United States, and this is happening more and more in Lebanon and throughout the world. The next slide that I have that I would like to share with you is what are the risks of outsourcing. Obviously, in Lebanon, we have major risks in outsourcing. Or throughout the world, it's not just the case of Lebanon, but it's something to be considered. Infrastructure risks, bad roads, buildings, poor power supply, country-specific issues, security risk, conflict, terrorism, and other. Reputation risk, negative public opinions, operation risks, supply chain problems, credit risk, which is the failure to meet in terms of contract with monetary institutions or to deliver or perform as agreed. On the demand side, in the US, for example, outsourcing has a negative impact on local employment opportunities and wages, but simply because it's taking away. So for us as developing country, it's a plus on, because in this case, what we are doing is creating opportunities for young people and even, professionals with the specific skill sets to be able to integrate into the workforce market and provide wages for them and their families. So the negative impact, however, in this case would change in case of global orders such as pandemic and conflict. So as economies rely on outsourced market, the risks in that is in certain conditions such as lockdowns and stuff, this could impact maybe in some cases the outsourced market in a negative way if the economy is heavily relying on outsourced market. Now, what makes a country best suited to become an outsourced hub? One, cultural openness, language skills, intellectual capacities and skill sets, infrastructure, security, transparency, and credibility. So in this case, so if we take the case of, according to a study by Kearney Global Services Location Index, Philippines ranked as an industry leader in outsourcing. So if we take the case of Philippines, and it's just to kind of compare and look at it, maybe one is, for example, the Philippines is a former Spanish and US colony. It gained independence in 1946 and it's considered a westernized country. So cultural openness is part of the culture, as you would say in Lebanon as well, that would allow for the outsourced market to flourish. Second is the Philippines has an excellent communication English skills. It's the English is considered the official language in the Philippines with an approximately 60 million English speakers. Obviously, we don't have 60 million English speakers, but English is one of the main languages in the country and is the most commonly used one. It has a strong educated labor market with 97% literacy rate and more than 680,000 people that are graduating from university each year. So again, there's a lot of potential for growth in that area. And in that sense, it allows the market to absorb a lot of the graduates that are coming out. It also has a strong infrastructure, and this is where the big question is when it comes to Lebanon, with government support for offshore industry and nationwide focus on infrastructure and telecommunication investment, especially in the main cities. So in this case, the more we invest in infrastructure and telecommunication and opportunities within the rural areas as well as the urban cities, there is a growing and more potential for Lebanon to serve as an outsourced market. It is relatively secure with some on and off security issues and civil strife. That's in the case of Philippines. And I would say the same. So the more secure the situation is in Lebanon, the more potential it has for an outsourced market. Now, if we look at for companies, for example, that offer balance in the Philippines, it offers a balanced package of excellent customer service and reduced labor costs. So now with the devaluation within the Lebanese lira, even though it's really considered a big issue, it did open up opportunities for Lebanon outsourced market. And I think this is going to be discussed further down with all the other panels. So for example, in the case of Philippines, so why is it all important for Lebanon? I think the biggest question is, do we have any of these attributes? Can Lebanon be a potential outsource hub? Can Beirut serve as a potential outsource capital? And I think there are opportunities for Lebanon in both the ITO, which is the information technology outsourcing, as well as the business process outsourcing. If we identify our competitive edge and given the existing cultural, linguistic, and talent, and even gender diversity and skill sets, Lebanon can carve its way into the outsourced service market very easily. Why can't the outsourced service market provide an exit opportunity for companies in the financial IT service sector in Lebanon? And there is an opportunity there, and we should start considering into and looking into that. I will leave the answers to these questions to the different panelists, business leaders and speakers who will be speaking to you today, more in specific and based on their specific case examples and practices in the field and other. As you know, and I'm sure we're all familiar, many companies now more than ever are outsourcing. Amadeus is one of the cases where it's based in the United States. We have an office in Lebanon. But however, some of the services of Amadeus global-wise are outsourced to different countries around the Middle East based on the competitive advantage of those field offices versus as well as what the market offers. One of them is marketing, for example. Marketing this year was outsourced to one of the companies that are well known in Lebanon, and that was a potential opportunity in order to demonstrate the potential for outsourced market in the future. There are hundreds of people that are hired locally that, however, work for IT and telecommunication companies all over the world through online services and other. So can Lebanon, thank you. So can Lebanon be the next potential outsource hub? I think, again, this is a discussion to be held today, and hopefully we'll have a great one. Thank you for taking the time to attend, and I wish you a great and a productive meeting today ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Taher. May I ask for you to... Thank you so much. Is it okay to stop sharing your screen?
Sure.
Thank you so much. And thank you for sharing your knowledge with us, Dr. Taher. We really appreciate you being here.